Cairo, Illinois, set at a rare crossroads of water. Here, the Mississippi and the Ohio meet, and geography becomes destiny. For a long time, Cairo lived by the river's rhythm boats, cargo, rail, and trade. This was a place designed to connect routes and move America's goods. In river towns, protection is part of daily life. Levees draw a line between land and water, reminding everyone who truly sets the rules here. Walk these blocks, and you feel a different tempo. The architecture still speaks of boom years, river traffic, and a town shaped by changing routes. Cairo once stood at a strategic junction, river routes and rail lines crossing paths. For decades, movement meant opportunity. Bridges here don't just cross water, they connect regions. Cairo sits at a point where the map almost folds in on itself. Some streets feel like open-air museums, beautiful details, long shadows, and the sense that time started moving differently here. In the morning fog, the town feels suspended between two rivers, between past and present, between what Cairo was and what it might become. This is the meeting point, two massive rivers forming one direction. In a place like Cairo, water isn't scenery, it's infrastructure. Here, protection is engineered walls, gates, and systems built to handle extremes. The town exists because the levees hold. These warehouses once matched the river's schedule: loading, unloading, constant motion. Today, they stand as architecture built for a different tempo. Cairo is a town of layers, river commerce, rail connections, engineering, and architecture. Every block feels like a chapter, still visible on the surface. When routes change, towns feel it. Cairo's position is powerful, but travel patterns shift, and the current of movement doesn't always flow the same way. Even in stillness, the buildings remember. Craftsmanship, ambition, and a sense that this street once had somewhere urgent to go. Inside, light does what it always does, turning emptiness into atmosphere. These rooms feel paused, not erased. Along the levee, you can feel the scale of the rivers and the quiet strength of a town that continues to live with them every day. Cairo sits in a floodplain where land and water negotiate constantly. The geography offers connection, but it also demands constant attention. The town still carries traces of its busiest years: hooks for signs, worn thresholds, and walls that once called people inside. At night, the river becomes a mirror. The bridges glow, the water moves on, and the town feels like a quiet checkpoint between worlds. Yet Cairo is more than quiet buildings and river fog. It's routines: coffee poured, doors opened, and people still choosing to stay connected to this place. In winter, the riverfront turns minimalist: water, sky, and silence. It's a reminder that life here is shaped by seasons as much as history. Cairo was designed for movement boats arriving, trains departing, cargo shifting hands. Its streets were built to serve the flow. Spaces like this were built for crowds and arrivals. In the quiet, you can almost hear footsteps that belong to another era. From the levee, you see everything at once: town, river, horizon. It's a perspective that makes Cairo feel small and incredibly important. Stand here, and the rivers feel like separate personalities, different currents, different textures, joining into one larger force. These structures aren't decoration, they're survival tools. Gates, walls, and systems built to negotiate with the river's power. Everything here carries river weather, wood, paint, and time. Homes built to last, even when the town's pace changes. In places like Cairo, upkeep is a form of pride. Small actions, sweeping, painting, planting, keep a town feeling lived in. Cairo feels small on the map, but its setting is monumental. Few towns sit at a crossroads this powerful. In many river towns, civic buildings anchor the idea of continuity places, meant to outlast changing routes and shifting eras. Old windows reflect more than streets. They reflect a town that once expected crowds still holding that shape in glass and brick. No matter what changes on land, the river keeps moving. In Cairo, that motion feels like the town's oldest heartbeat. The riverfront still shows it's working past hardware built for boats, cargo, and schedules. Even small details feel industrial. Landmarks like churches hold a town's timeline. Brick, stone, and a steeple structures built to keep watch over generations. Morning routines keep towns alive. A door unlocks, lights come on, and the day begins slow, steady, familiar. At sunset, the rivers turn into light. Cairo becomes a silhouette between currents, quiet, dramatic, and unforgettable. Under the bridges, you feel the engineering scale. Steel lines and shadows built to carry constant motion across restless water. Rail stations were built for timetables and crowds. Even in stillness, this place feels like it's waiting for the next arrival. Even the back alleys are built with craft brick, iron, and layers of weather. This town was designed with permanence in mind. Cairo makes sense when you see it on a map. 2 rivers, 1 meeting point, and a town positioned like a hinge between regions. Levee steps feel like a daily ritual. Up toward safety, up toward the view where the rivers remind you who they are. From above, Cairo looks like a carefully drawn grid streets, porches, and quiet blocks laid out for a busier century. Along the riverfront, the town becomes peaceful. A bench, a path, and a view that feels larger than any population number. At dusk, a few windows glow. It's a simple sign that the town is still inhabited, still breathing in its own quiet way. These facades were built for crowds, banks, shops, and busy sidewalks. The architecture still carries that ambition, even when the streets feel calm. In a river town, the breeze never really stops. A porch swing creaks like a metronome marking time, even when everything else feels paused. Along the levee, you see the river's memory marks, lines, and engineering built for extremes. Here, history is measured in water levels. Cairo sits between states and between currents. It's a geographic hinge, small on the ground, massive on the map. A far-off train horn can still define the morning. In Cairo, transportation feels like an old language the town still speaks. These pilings have held up countless seasons. Wood and water tell time differently, slowly, patiently, without announcements. Every town keeps a memory vault. In libraries and archives, Cairo's history is preserved one photograph, one map, one story at a time. River weather changes fast clouds, light, and temperature shifting in minutes. Cairo lives inside that atmosphere, every day. In Cairo, open space is part of the landscape now, less density, more sky. It changes how the town feels, how sound travels, how time moves. Sometimes renewal begins with one doorway. A small restoration can feel like a statement. This place is still worth caring for. On the bank, the river becomes personal. Fishing here isn't just a hobby. It's a way to be part of the landscape. The soundscape of Cairo is gentle wind, footsteps, distant calls. In that quiet, the town feels intimate, like everyone shares the same horizon. Driving through Cairo at sunset feels cinematic brick, shadows, and river air. A town that looks like a set, but it's real. Schools are time capsules. Even when hallways are quiet, they hold echoes of schedules, footsteps, and generations growing up by the river. Riverboats once made this place feel connected to everything. The water was a highway and Cairo was a stop that mattered. When you watch the current long enough, you understand the town. Cairo is built around motion, yet it asks you to slow down and observe. Rivers don't just connect, they divide. In Cairo, the water draws borders, shapes travel, and defines what near and far really mean. When a train crosses the bridge, the town feels it. The rhythm is mechanical, steady like a reminder that networks still pass through here. In small museums, big geography becomes understandable. Cairo's story is local, but its location has always been national. Stormlight makes the confluence look epic, like the landscape is performing. Here, weather and water are part of the town's daily language. Some stories aren't told in headlines, just in coffee poured and doors opened. Cairo's daily life runs on small routines. Look closely, and you see the craftsmanship. Brick by brick, Cairo was built with confidence, meant to endure river seasons and time. In small towns, information travels by conversation. A porch becomes a newsroom, a support system, and a way to stay connected. From above, Cairo looks like a peninsula of history held between 2 rivers, protected by levees, and defined by its unusual shape. Rooms like this were built for music and crowds. In the stillness, you can sense how big Cairo once imagined itself to be. The riverfront changed its pace. The structures remain, but the rhythm is different. Less rush, more quiet observation. Even one train can change the sound of the evening. A crossing like this feels like the town's pulse returning for a moment. On the riverbank, you see the simplest evidence of life footprints, reeds, and water. that rewrites the shoreline every day. When the streetlights come on, the town shifts into night mode, quiet, contained, and calm. Like a river settling, places like the post office keep a town stitched together. Letters, packages, and small interactions, daily infrastructure of community. A bicycle on a porch rail says a lot. Someone lives here. Someone comes and goes. Someone still claims this street as home. Repair is a quiet form of optimism. One step fixed, one window painted, small investments that keep the town feeling cared for. From the levee at sunrise, Cairo feels timeless. Water, sky, rooftops, everything arranged around the same meeting point. Some places pull people in visually, textures, symmetry, history. Cairo is a town that rewards slow looking. Even small gatherings can feel powerful. A few lights, a bit of music, and neighbors showing up, proof that community still happens here. The river keeps its own rhythm, steady, persistent. In Cairo, that rhythm becomes the soundtrack of the town. Cairo's landmarks aren't loud, they're steady. They hold the outline of a town that once played a bigger role in America's movement. The confluence is more than geography. It's a metaphor, two directions becoming one, and a town defined by where it stands. Pull back far enough and you understand Cairo instantly. It's a point on the map where water routes converge, and everything around it follows that logic. In the evening, small lights matter. They turn a quiet street into a lived-in place, proof that Cairo still holds homes, not just history. The river edits the shoreline every day, quietly, endlessly. In Cairo, change isn't a headline, it's a current. A key turning in a lock is a simple sound, but it means presence. Someone is choosing to open, to maintain, to continue. Cairo isn't a place you understand in a hurry. It reveals itself in details: brickwork, river light, and the spaces between buildings. Between the Mississippi and the Ohio, Cairo feels like a pause in the current, a place where geography holds the story in place. From street level, Cairo feels quiet. From above, it feels enormous: two rivers, multiple routes, and a town positioned at a rare meeting point. The rivers don't stop, and neither does the place between them. Cairo remains a confluence of water, memory, and quiet persistence.